አንደኛ the major field of chemistry that studies all the elements and their components with the exception of carbon, and these components are known as dash. A. Organic. B. Physics. C. Inorganic. D. Analysis. First, let's elaborate each one of them. First, what is organic? Organic is the study of the structural properties, composed reactions, and the preparations of carbon-containing compounds. Physicals, the branch of chemistry concerned with the application of the technology and the theories of physics to the study of chemistry system. Inorganic, an inorganic compound is the typical a chemical compound that lacks carbon hydrogen bonds. Analytic, studies and uses instruments and methods used to separate, identify, and quantify materials. So our answer is C. Number 2. Which of the following correct defines accuracy of measurements? First, what is accuracy of measurements? Accuracy measurements is the closeness of the agreement between the result of the measurements and the true value of the things being measured. A. Measurements that are close to each other. B. Measurements that have been repeated several times. C. Measurements that are close to the known value. D. The degree to which repeated measurements under the same conditions are unchanged. So our answer is C. How many? Number 3. How many significant figures does A measuring of 0.00143 meter cube? A. 3. B. 4. C. 5. D. 6. First, what is significant figure? Significant figures are the degree of numbers that are meaningful in terms of accuracy or precision. They include any non-zero digits, zeros between non-zero digits, 0 before non-digits are not significant. So our answer is A. 3. Number 4. What is significant method? It is a method of A. Gaining knowledge through theories modified as needed. B. Searching for information based only on past scientific researches. C. Investigation involving experiments and observations to acquire new knowledge, solve problems, and answer questions. D. Quantitative observations and experiment. First, what is significant method? Significant method is carefully logical and systematic approach to give response for significant problems. So our answer is C. Investigation involved experiments and observation to acquire new knowledge, solve problems, and answer questions. Number 5. A hypothesis state is in the scientific method is dash. A verbal statements or a mathematical equation that summarizes the observations. B. A possible explanations for an observations. C. An explanation of the general principle of a certain phenomena. D. The steps at which data are collected by observing and experiments. First, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is an education explanation as what will happen during your experiment. So our answer will be B. A possible explanation for our observations. Number 6. Which of the following states the law of defined properties? A. Every component always contains the same elements in the same property of weight. B. The total mass in universal is always constant. C. The mass of the products in chemical reactions must be equal to the mass of the reactant. D. Chemical compounds are formed when atoms combine in whole number. First, what is law of defined properties? Law of defined properties states that every chemical compound contains fixed and constant proportions by mass of its constant elements. So our answer will be A. Every compounds always contain the same element in the same property of weight. Number 7. What did J.J. Thomson contribute with the experiment in cathode ray tubes in understanding the atomic structure of the atoms? A. Cathode rays and electron charges were combined together and not separate entities. B. Cathode rays were actually electrons. C. The electrical charges deposit was negative. D. Cathode rays and electron charges were separated entities and do not combine together. What did the J.J. Thomson, what was his experiment? J.J. Thomson experiment with cathode ray tube showed that all atoms contain tiny negative charges, subatomic particles or electrons. So our answer will be B. Cathode rays were actually electrons. Number 8. An element X has two naturally occurred isotopes. X the first accuracy for 19.9% of the total, and the second account for remaining 80.1%. What is the average atomic number? Okay, so our number 8 question is an element X has two natural occurred isotopes, X 10.013 AMU and X 11.01 AMU. The first accountant for 90.9% of the total, and the second account for measuring 80.1%. What is the average atomic mass of the element X? So we are asked what? Average atomic mass. So our given A1 is equals to 10.013 AMU, A2 is equals to 11.01 AMU, our F1 is equals to 90.9%, F2 is equals to 80.1%. So how we going to calculate our average atomic mass? AM is equals to A1 plus times F1 plus A2 times F2. How are we going to do this? First, our F1 and F2 are what in percent? So we're going to calculate it. 10.013 ሲባዛ 19.9 ሲካፈል ለ100 ሲደመር 11.01 ሲባዛ 80.1% we're going to divide by 100. So we're going to give how much? 10.812 AMU. So our answer will be A 10.812, B 10.21, C 10.521, D 10.125. So our answer is what? A. Okay, wait, let's go to the next question. Question number 9. What are isotopes? Isotopes are atoms which with the same atomic number of protons but a different number of what? A. Electrons, B. Protons, C. Ions, D. Neutrons. So first, what are they? Let's explain. Electrons is a negatively charged subatomic particles. Protons is a stable subatomic particle with a positive charge. Ions is an atom or a molecule with a net electron charge. D. Neutrons is an uncharged subatomic particles. So our answer will be what? D. Isotopes are atoms of the same elements with the same number of electrons and protons but different neutrons and mass numbers. Let's move to the next questions. Question number 10. Which statement is correct for the emission spectrum of hydrogen atom? A. The lines are produced when electrons move from second to the fourth. B. The lines in the invisible ranges. involves electrons transmission into the energy level close to the nucleus. C. The lines are produced when the electrons move from low to higher energy levels. The line corresponds to the great emissions of the energy is in the ultraviolet region. So first, what is emission of spectrum? Emission of spectrum, a chemical element in the spectrum of frequency of electromagnetic radiations emitted due to an electron making a transmission from a higher energy state to a lower energy state. So our answer will be what? Our answer will be D.